Right. So this is going to be my inaugural video for this channel, and what better topic than Skibidi Toilet? It's a funny thing, and I want to sort of just rattle off a bunch of stuff, make this video a little bit less formal than what I intend to do later on, and have it be a little bit more conversational, because it is more of a test bed, more of a can I research something effectively, put it into a video, and then have people actually benefit from the content. So I've got notes, I've got a camera, and we'll see how it goes. So Skibidi Toilet exploded onto the scene. It's wild because presumably you know what Skibidi Toilet is. But just to kind of recap, it started about 8 months ago. It's interesting because this is not unlike the rest of the content that DF Boom, the channel that puts out Skibidi Toilet, was making. So to kind of back it up, the channel itself is run is exclusively run by one guy. I'm going to butcher the name because it is Russian. Alexei Gerasimov. Of course, I'm not Russian. I don't speak Russian, so that's probably a butchering of the name. He lives in Georgia now. Just some tidbits. So one of the better articles that I found regarding who the creator is, fleshing out a little bit more of his story, was on Cartoon Brew. And they sort of fleshed out a little bit more of his community. He has a Discord community as well as a couple of socials that he's pretty open about who he is as a person. A lot of these animators tend to be kind of standoffish as far as revealing who they are and talking too much about themselves. But Alexei is not. But so he started his channel back in, it looks like 2017. That's the earliest video that I could find with him in it. It said in his Discord, it said in this article that he's been animating since 2014. He said he'd been animating for 9 years, which would put him at 2014. The funny thing is that he is clearly using. I noticed it the first time I saw one of these videos, and it was a little bit it was probably a little after it blew up. I noticed it immediately. The Hallmark Source Filmmaker look. Now, Source Filmmaker, which was originally released in June of 2012, was developed off of course, the Source engine, which is what Half-Life 2, Team Fortress 2, Left 4 Dead 2, all of that sort of 2005, 2007, 2012, that era of Valve games, that's what they all ran off of, was the Source engine. Source Filmmaker was originally developed as sort of it originally was developed as an in-game demo system to be able to showcase the Source engine and to showcase whatever game they were trying to sell. And so they used it for Day of Defeat, which is an old, at this point, more obscure Valve game. They used it for the Team Fortress 2 promo stuff, so Meet the Team. I imagine that anybody that knows the Source Filmmaker or that community, Source Filmmaker has a pretty broad community of animators. They all know Meet the Team with Pyro and Spy and all that stuff. I've been fascinated by it. I've never actually used it as a tool myself, but I have seen animators. I've seen them for years doing this goofy content. And that's the funny thing about it, is it's always this sort of goofy, ridiculous content, usually focused around the texture stretching, the way that the Source Filmmaker does the texture stretching, model stretching, faces, how they can stage the faces and that kind of stuff. It's this sort of goofy sense of humor. You never see a serious animation coming from SFM. So it's interesting to see a channel like DF Boom and a creator like Gerasimov become so wildly successful with this old platform. You got to think, if it was released in 2012, then you got to think this thing is almost 14 years old. It's an old engine, it's an old animation tool, and he's been using the same animation platform, the same filmmaker, for 7 years. And his previous content, DF Boom's previous content, was really focused around, again, the goofiness and the sort of sense of humor that comes with that SFM community. The other piece of it that's really interesting is he has clearly had to change his approach to animation and to the structure of his workflow. He has never uploaded at this frequency, nor has he ever built quite as elaborate of a story and lore for any of his series. His biggest series before Skibidi Toilet was his Big Smoke animations, which in their own right garnered a lot of attention. He definitely became a prominent player, a prominent animator in the SFM animation community. But as far as broad spectrum international appeal, you're not there, generally speaking, with SFM and with that kind of goofy sense of humor. It's a very niche market for that. It's a very niche viewer base for that. So it's very interesting to see Skibidi Toilet explode the way that it has, and its primary viewer base being younger, like kids, younger viewers. And it's funny, I was just talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, you better watch out, this Halloween, because Halloween's coming up. This Halloween, we're gonna see a lot of kids walking around with toilets around their heads, around their necks. And lo and behold, she looks it up, and they're already producing Skibidi Toilet Halloween costumes, because the primary market for this series has ultimately turned out to be kids, which is a complete deviation from DF Boom's normal content. It's usually aimed toward people that play GTA San Andreas or Half-Life 2. It's an older audience. I mean, he's a younger guy. I think he's only 25, 26, whatever he is. But that's still within the college, post-college age range that would lend to that kind of sense of humor. So this Skibidi Toilet explosion is something that is quite an anomaly. And it's also interesting to see him adapt to the popularity and the generally very positive reception he's received. So we'll see where it goes. I just kind of wanted to run a quick video on it to highlight just how much of an anomaly this Skibidi Toilet phenomenon is on the platform and in culture. To see it affect and internationally affect cultures to this degree is, in my opinion, unprecedented.